A resource-based strategy, in order for it to be successful, it has to operate in an environment where you've identified all the other parts of your industry that are uniform, that everybody has. For example, if you're in the airline industry, everybody has planes, they need fuel, they have employees, they have to cover distance over time. That's just the basic requirements of having an airline. But how do you differentiate yourself? Well, say for example, you wanted to have an airline that really targeted the overnight business traveler. So you decided, we're not going to have any checked bags. You could have carry-on luggage and that's it. Well, there would be some advantages to that. You would be able to deplane and load people up faster. You would be able to save fuel because there wouldn't be as much weight on the plane without the luggage. And you wouldn't have to have all the baggage handlers, so that saves you employee costs. But let's look at some of the rules behind what is actually truly a competitive advantage. Dr. J. Barney, back in 1986, tried to isolate what it is that gives an organization a competitive advantage. Two things he said were at a bare minimum. One, it has to be something that cannot be easily copied. And two, it can't be easily replaced. Once you identify those unique pieces of your operation, those are what you exploit. So let's go back to the airline example. Is an airline that doesn't accept checked baggage, is that something that you would say is not easily copied? It might take a little bit of time. You might have to get through union contracts, but it is something your competition could copy. So if it was proving to be successful, the rest of the industry could jump in and do it. So that really doesn't work very well. A couple of the things to keep in mind when you're talking about the RBV, as they call it. Behaviors and abilities that create high sales, low costs, and high margins are measurable attributes associated with a valuable culture. Scholars who look at the resource-based view of organizational advantage really focus on culture, because what they have found is that unique organizations that thrive in their industry have unique cultures. Second, when you look at these unique cultures, you look across their entire industry and there's something within the organization that's rare. Like W.L. Gore, for example. The lattice structure of their organization is unique to their company, and thus it gives them a competitive advantage. And it's not something that can be easily replicated. Within the Gore organization, their associates believe that having that lattice structure makes them more nimble, and that creates a competitive advantage. And Barney came up with an interesting term. He said that the culture must be imperfectly imitatable. It has to be so unique that even if somebody else had the book on you, what your daily routines were and what your training regimen looked like, they still would not be able to replicate what it feels like to actually work in your organization.